My name is Gwendolyn, G.R. Houston Jack, born and raised in Houston, Texas. And it never escapes me that when I go back home and I run into classmates from high school, there is always somebody who's like, hey, Gwen. Okay, I'm not a Gwen. My father named me. My name is Gwendolyn. I have gone by Gwendolyn since 2001 when I reclaimed my name. I reclaimed it. Now people are like, I don't get it. Okay. First and foremost, the very first way to show disrespect to someone is to not use their name. Okay? Just in case you didn't know. So if you mistakenly call somebody Sally when their name is Sarah, it may not be like much. It's huge. And then when a person tells you their name and you continue to use anything other than trust, you are sending a message. Just in case you didn't know, don't be that person. Okay, let me get back to my story. So when that happens to me, I often turn to people and say, Gwendolyn, yes. Hey, how's it going? And it catches folks off guard because in their mind, they didn't anticipate someone correcting them on the name that they have become accustomed to using. Okay, but that's great. But I know my name, and my name is Gwendolyn, and you should just use that name. Like, why not? So here we are, right? Like we're going through our change. We are making these movements in our life. And yet we keep running into people who keep attempting to work with the last version of who we are. Some of these people need to either purchase an upgrade the software, or just stop altogether. Can we talk about that? All right, where do I want to go with? I want to go with this. Because I'm not the only one who has had to deal with change and letting go of the past. I want you to leave from this conversation with tools to let go of the past. Feel good. Feel good in letting go of the past. I want you to be able to prepare for the next chapter of what's coming. And you're already there, because if you're here, you're already there. And then how are we going to navigate these waters of change? Because that's what it all boils down to, right? So let me give you some ideas really, really quick when we talk about our past. And I'm going to give you mine. I mean, you've heard some of it. You've heard some. It's okay. You may be new to the crowd. Let me just give you some of the cliff notes and fill you in. So I stutter, and it's nothing worse than a kid who stutters to have a 3-syllable name. That's that BS. Now, I love my name. Okay, hear me clearly. I love my name. It's so regal. Gwendolyn, right? But as a kid, it's a lot. And also, as a child, wasn't really given the choice of how I wanted to be received. Now, obviously, at the house, my mama, my daddy called me Gwen. It was just easy. They had, everybody had a nickname. This is how it works in the home. But in school, they just chopped it off to Gwen. And that's what it was. All through elementary school, all through junior high, high school. And then I get to college, and a professor says, hey, are you a Gwendolyn? Do you go by Gwen? I'm like, oh, well, didn't know I had a choice. Didn't know I had a choice. And then you start thinking, wait a minute, I have a choice. We're going to talk about that again. Because we kind of forget what belongs to us. Because for so many years, we've given that power away to others. We have a choice. So we chose 2001. I am full stop in, hey, it's Gwendolyn. You can call me G. As a matter of fact, at the job, I was Lil G. That was the nickname there, Lil G. And we went through a period of correcting people. And I mean, it takes a while. It takes forever. And I love how people say, oh, but my auntie's name is Gwendolyn, but she goes by Gwen. Great. I'm not your auntie, just in case you hadn't noticed. I'm not your auntie. What is what someone else accepts got to do with me? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. So we went through a lot of correcting, so much so that now people just call me G, which is so easy. And yet and still there's always somebody who's like, oh, but isn't it? It's like, no, why is that hard? So let's talk about you, right? Because your past, our past, does not define you. Now, I went through a physical change to match the mental and emotional change. You don't have to be that extreme. But I do find that some of us like to make sure that people recognize the person in front of you ain't even close to looking like the person you used to know. But you're not your past. It does not define you. We all have one. Every single one of us. And we can take lessons from that. But that chapter of your life, that chapter's gone. So let me make sure we're clear here. I'm not who I was. And that's the whole point. So I read this quote. I thought it was the coolest quote ever. I don't know who said it, but I'm not going to claim it. I'm just going to tell you. The quote is, don't trip over something that's behind you. I said, what the what? Yes, don't trip over something that's behind you. Okay. Now we were talking about how the past is a chapter that is closed in your book. Keep in mind, we're writing new pages every day to this book. This right here, this is a little subchapter in the chapter of change that you're going through right now. That's what this is. That's what's right here. You ever wonder why people stick to what they know from the past when it comes to other people? You ever wonder why people are so up in arms about change? It's because it's what's comfortable for them. It's never about you. It's never been about you. When I went through my change, people were like, ugh, she's got an attitude. No, bitch, I don't have an attitude. But you will respect me, or you can go about your business. There is that. Think about it. When you have your, I'm using air quotes, friends, or people you thought were friends, when you start walking in your purpose and you start walking towards this amazing, awe-inspiring version of yourself, don't you find it funny that the people who you saw as your friends, your squad, all of a sudden, they got a lot to say, and not in an encouraging spot. I'm going to use spot. They got a lot to say. All of a sudden, they have thoughts and ideas about the changes you are making for yourself. They have opinions about how you stand up and advocate for yourself. They have dissertations i.e., they got a lot to say about how you represent you. All of a sudden. Now, when you were just towing the line, and when you were just doing what everybody else does, and when you were meek and mild and didn't say anything and didn't complain and didn't hold them accountable for their bad behavior, they were quiet. They had nothing to say. Nada. Nothing to say. But now that you're at this spot, when you were like, that world, that life, that path, it's not serving me and I want more for myself. The good Lord put me here to do more. And if you don't believe in God, forgive me. Whoever you believe in. I was put here to do something great and grand. I was put here for that. All of a sudden, they got something to say. A lot of that comes from, in my opinion, two places. One, I do think there is some jealousy there. If the person, and check it, I'm not calling them your friend because I know better, but if that person isn't as solid as they appear to be with themselves, herself, hisself, then they do this sort of chaos thing, this chaos dance. The other part is it's about their comfort level. They were comfortable when you were not growing because they weren't growing. And if I'm not growing and you're not growing, I'm fine here. But now that you have aspirations and dreams and you want to actually fulfill those and walk in your purpose, I just don't know if I can deal with that. I can't deal with that. Changing is uncomfortable. It is. It's uncomfortable. That it is. It's uncomfortable. Not only for yourself, because you're like, I've enjoyed the life I've had, and I just kind of feel like things were going great, and I don't understand why my friends and my family members are not happy for me. Why are they not happy for me? Now, we talked about baggage. And we talked about, sometimes when you're going through these changes, you may have to let go of some people. When you are designing the life that you want for yourself, So not only is it uncomfortable for those around you, I recognize it's also uncomfortable for you because you're stepping out of your comfort zone. Now, I have to do an asterisk. I don't believe in comfort zones. That stepping in and stepping out, I don't believe in that. I believe that when I look to do different things, new things, I look to add to my life experience toolbox, my tool chest, that sucker expands. That circle expands. I don't step out. It's going to get bigger, right? But when it's new to you, you're walking out into this unknown. The whole world is unknown. The future is unknown, provided the decision you made yesterday. Now, you do know how that's going to turn out, because if you didn't pay your light bill, yes, in the future, you know that your lights might get turned off. We're not talking those kinds of decisions though. Let me get back on track. It can be daunting because there's a part of you that has been in the past looking for others to confirm what you're doing and to also give you acceptance and affirmations, right? Like you were looking for that acceptance. Because if Susie Q liked it, and God bless whoever Susie Q is, God bless her. But if Susie Q liked it, then you felt pretty good, right? Because my friends liked it. even as adults, there is still this little place of peer pressure for some of us. It still exists. We haven't, I hate to say it, outgrown that. I want you to outgrow it. I want you to get past it. I want you to get past looking for Susie Q and I'm gonna use Sally. Don't you love these names? Susie Q and Sally, Mary. You're gonna have to get past looking for them to give you the thumbs up on your decisions. That's gonna have to come from you. That has to come from you. I think about people that I've met, that I've known, and how we have evolved together. And every now and then I hear people apologizing for who they are today. Question, what are you apologizing for? I don't. Now, I haven't done it here. I should probably bring that lesson here. But when we talk about apologizing, I just want to make sure we understand what we're apologizing for. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but you may have noticed I like a little spicy language. I do. I have done extremely well bringing this to you, wearing a filter. But we're at a point in time where we got to get down to the nitty gritty. So I'm going to give it to you the way that this dish should be served. Don't apologize for shit. You definitely should not apologize for being who you want to be. Full stop. No. I know, as a Black woman, the stereotypes that people love to paint us with, these broad brushes. Black women are attitudinal. Y'all always got something to say. You're hard to love. And all of that to keep us in the box of servitude and less than. And as my dear friend Joe says, an emotional mule, put all of it on your back. And that's all that's for. So when we decide to let go of all of that BS baggage, we are apologizing for not a damn thing. Nada. Okay? Make that clear. You are stepping into this new chapter. Now, I'm not going to go into how I was received. Maybe I'll do an outtake to talk about that. I'm going to do an outtake to talk about how I was received when I chose Gwendolyn and chose to show up as my full self, stomping in my boots. And I had army surplus boots. I didn't get Timberlands, but I was stomping in my boots into this beautiful version of Gwendolyn. And it's wonderful here. It's wonderful. No, I'm not apologizing for that. You are also you're stepping into this new chapter. That's awesome. It is awesome. Here's the deal. We've been talking about space and grace for a few seasons now. You need it here more than ever. Do you remember the first time you went to any place that was on your bucket list? Even as a kid, you were like, I'm going to Disneyland. You're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Or I'm going to Times Square. I'm going to Paris. I'm going wherever it is. There's like this feeling in your gut that is just like, ugh. You're like a confetti cannon. You want to pop. It feels amazing. You're so inspired. You're wired up. You got all this energy. You don't even know how to control it. There's so much energy, right? That next chapter, that's what that is. Now, transforming is very much like the butterfly, right? You're a caterpillar. You're doing your thing. You're waiting to come out of your cocoon. And then you sort of spread those wings. You're kind of like, jazz hands. Yeah. You're that butterfly. And every now and then, you get a little nervous. You're like, maybe I should not go down this road. People are not receiving me well. I'm not so certain about it. I don't have the folks I need around me because I haven't found my tribe now that I have defined who I am and I am ready to get into this new place. There is a want sometimes to go back to what's comfortable. And a lot of times what's comfortable isn't necessarily what's best for us. If you weren't happy there, so why bother? I mean, like, can we just talk about that? You weren't happy there. But I want to tell you this. I want you to know you must give yourself permission to evolve, to transform. Give yourself that permission. It's okay. I don't care what anybody out here is saying. Don't nobody care. I don't care what your pastor said. I don't care what your sister said, your cousin, your friend who knew you back when you were in elementary school. Guess what? You're not that kid. You're not that person. I think about parents when we see our kids. I see my niece and nephews, my great niece and nephew. I see my grandson. And I'm like, oh, when he was so small and when he used to make songs and sing them in the car, and he does not do that anymore. He is becoming who he needs to become. I need to give him room for that. And I need to accept him as he wants to be accepted. So I get it. It feels funny. You have the same pathway that he has. You have every right to become the person you want to be. Give yourself the permission to evolve. Now, y'all know I like a good movie line. So I am going to go with my dear friend, Master Yoda. And I'm going to talk about the Jedis because if you look at the Jedi Knights, every single one of them has a past, has a background. They slowly evolved into the Jedi Knight that we saw them as. You know, Luke wasn't always Luke. Luke was a boy who was a farmer, or his uncle wanted him to be a farmer. He was like, I want to get out into the world. I want to be a pilot. I want to do this. I want to do. And his uncle's like, no, no, no. His uncle couldn't stop it though. His uncle couldn't stop Luke from walking in his purpose. He couldn't do it. Even when he wanted to. He thought, I put him out here in the middle of nowhere, in Tatooine. Surely he could become a farmer. He couldn't. It was in his heart. It's in his soul. It was his destiny. Okay? It was meant to be. You know, you could do about that. But let Luke do what Luke needed to do. And that is show up as himself. Let him evolve. Now, obviously, you know, uncle and auntie had a demise. I don't want to go down that path. Here's the point. You two, my friend, are writing this new chapter. Okay? You're writing your new chapter too. We got to recognize that. And so I want to make sure that we are preparing for your future. That's the focus. All right, so let's continue with preparing for your future. Let me get that. So a couple of things. Vision requires clarity, and it requires boundaries as well, right? Like you want to make sure that you know where you're going. So with the clarity, we cannot hold on to the past. You can't keep running back to that. You gotta let that go. So with that, in terms of preparing, let's make sure our mind is right. Check your mindset. Let's also make sure that we have those boundaries set up. Let's make sure I have that. And then where are we going? We must, and I know I said must, hear me out. We must speak life into our goals. What do you want to see? Where do you want to go? And why do you want to go there? Now, I have a little preface here. I don't want us to be so focused on what's next and what was that we miss what is now. You got to be present. Be present for yourself. Understand every single step you're taking. You are becoming that next version of yourself. So don't be so caught up on when I get here and I don't want to be back there that you miss what is happening right here, right now. Don't miss that. Don't do that. You are becoming every single chance you walk out into the world. You get to interact with someone else. You are becoming that next great version of who you wish to be. Be present. Be in this moment. Revel in it. Be like, ooh, y'all, I can't believe I'm here. Like, what the what? Yes. Know this. You are not your past. You are not your pain, but you are your power. That's you. All of this right here. That is you. So it is time to do some work. Do some work. Do some work. All right. We're getting the work done. So what do I have today? Well, a reminder. Again, you're not your past, right? You're not who you were. You are becoming who you wish to be. Give yourself the permission to continue evolving and transforming, right? Give yourself that. And so with that, the work that we have here is to write a breakup letter to your past self. We are going to write a letter that shares what we are more than happy to give up because it's not serving us. Share what you're giving up. Share why. Talk about what you will take, because I have taken things from my past. I am using them today, right? So we're not throwing everything away. But we're writing a breakup letter with that person who is no longer serving us. And if you want to include places and spaces and people that you have outgrown, throw them in there too. Because we are allowed to outgrow people. We are allowed to outgrow spaces and places and activities and all the things that no longer serve us. We are allowed that. If someone's asking you, why are you making this change? Now, gracious Gwendolyn would say, because I can. Gwendolyn would say, ain't none of your damn business. Authentic G would not even recognize or acknowledge such a question, because I am grown. Pick your poison on that one. But write a letter. You can say, dear past self, thank you for getting me this far, but I think it's time that we go our separate ways. And you can write it down. You could do a video. You could do a voice note, whatever makes sense for you. Do that. But next to that, I want you to create a next chapter vision board. I love a good vision board. I have used vision boards, I don't know how many times, because if you can see it, you can work towards it. Out of sight means out of mind. What are we working towards? What are we working for? Where do I see myself? What do I want for this next version of myself? What does that next chapter look like? Make a vision board. Now, I believe in visual, actual, factual, physical vision boards, but you can also create a vision board on Canva as well and make it your desktop. You can even make it your phone wallpaper. Just as long as you can see it. That's all that matters to me. Just as long as you can see it. Again, we have a workbook that you can download that has additional exercises to help you during this time of transformation and evolution. You can find that in the description, or you can also go to my personal Instagram or YouTube page and download it there as well. But it takes time, it takes work, and it will also take you giving yourself the space and grace to grow and learn. I'll see you in the next one.